Guys, we obtained the marriage license of Gary Siders Jr. and his wife Elizabeth Siders from 2008. He was 18, she was and pregnant. But 5 years earlier, it was his sister who was married under, then pregnant with one of the newly named suspects.
Gary Siders Jr., the father charged with endangering his 16 home in Hamden, walked into the Vinton County courtroom today and pleaded not guilty to those charges, but also charges in a separate case involving conduct.
So you have Gary Siders Sr. up here on top. As you see, he doesn't look like he's all the way there. Now, Virginia, her first husband was with Joshua Saunders Jr. So Angel Doss, guys, is the mom of the victim. The Siders family, it does not stop. I just reported the other day that 2 more family members were arrested. Well, 2 other family members got arrested in June, and it's the same day as, well, let me show you. Fugitive TV, stay tuned. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel. And what we do here is we take a look at cases of missing individuals, anything true crime. And I give it a deep look. I can give you a different perspective because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself, hence Fugitive TV. I ran for 15 years in different countries, living under different names, eventually turned myself in. Now I'm a motivational speaker. I have this YouTube channel. I help family members locate missing individuals and even help them locate fugitives that sometimes have done something horrific to a loved one. Well, the Siders situation. Gary Siders Jr., Elizabeth Siders, Gary Siders Sr., and his wife, Christina Siders. If you haven't been following this case, it is very disturbing. So I'm going to warn you right now, and very disgusting. Okay, what's going on with the family members here? Now, excuse me, but some of the words in this situation, this case, I have to dance around because YouTube does not like you to talk about certain things. And what they do is they flag the video, demonetize the video, or sometimes even, I should say, suffocate the video to where it doesn't spread out to people. So every time I talk about this case, I have to be a little careful because you're walking on a very thin line, or they say treading on thin waters. So Gary Siders Jr. and his wife Elizabeth, they are currently in jail right now for 16 counts of endangering little ones. Keyword little ones, okay? And I'm going to put a comment below just in case you don't get these phrase keywords. I'll put in a comment below so you can get what I'm saying, all right? Well, police knocked on their door and it was, let me get the date. It was June 30th, 2026. Now, this is out of Ohio. They went to the door to go get Gary Jr.'s DNA for another case, all right? And while they were doing that, they discovered that they had all these little ones living in horrible conditions. Okay, we're talking about bugs, roaches, ants, no showers, and no bathing, no anything. So that's the backstory of this. So they got arrested, right? And then not only the parents got arrested, the grandparents got arrested because they were all living in the same house. So 20 of them living in this same home. The grandparents are currently out of jail right now. So the grandfather got out on a reconnaissance bond, meaning he signed his own self out. They actually sent him off to a facility somewhere because his medical conditions are so bad. They felt that the county would go bankrupt if they had to pay for his medical supplies and doctors. Because when you're in county jail, the county is responsible for taking care of you medical wise. And that budget comes out of the county budget. So for example, if your doctor bills is going to be $20,000 a month, that $20,000 has to come out of that county's budget. If that county's budget monthly is only $50,000, you just ate up almost half the budget. So they had to let him go to a facility. Now, when you're in state prison, Different story. State prison is run by the whole state. So now you got the whole state paying for you, not just the county. So that means the budget is bigger. So if anybody was wondering how that works. So the grandfather's out and he got out to a facility. Now the grandmother, actually, I didn't know this. I just found this out. She's out now too. I believe on a reconnaissance bond too. I didn't even know. So she's out. But Gary Jr. and Elizabeth are still in. Now Elizabeth's attorney is still trying his best to get her out. Only issue is, I don't know if they're getting out now because they just got new charges on them.
Gary Siders Jr. appeared in handcuffs in a Vinton County courtroom Wednesday. He's charged with endangering his 16 who investigators say were rescued in June from a home in Hamden where they were living in deplorable conditions. In court, Siders Jr. pleaded not guilty to those charges, as well as charges in a separate investigation involving alleged misconduct with the indictment identifies Gary Siders Jr. as a relative of the victim.
So I'm going to quickly explain these new charges. Now, I did a video the other day on the 2 family members who got arrested, but there is 2 more who was arrested back in June that we are just finding out about. All right. So quick rundown about the 2 who was arrested the other day, just in case you missed it. So Josh Saunders, and I'm going to show you a little family tree because it's very confusing. So I'm going to put a family tree there so you guys can see who I'm talking about. So let me quickly go over this real quick. Josh Saunders, 23. He has 3 counts of the word we can't use, the R word that sounds like grape. All right. Basically forced himself onto a little one. Okay. Then Brendan Henderson, who was 40, has 21 counts and endangering little ones. All right. And this is who we're talking about. So let me pull up this family tree so you guys can see where it starts. So you have Gary Siders Sr. up here on top. As you see, he doesn't look like he's all the way there. So he was the first one that got released. He's the one that they said needs medical attention. Then you have his wife, Christina Siders. And like I said, I just found out she's out. I didn't even know she was out. So she's out on reconnaissance. Now, I don't know where she's at. I don't know if they released her to. I don't know anything yet. Now, they had children, okay? Underneath them, one of their children is Virginia Siders, as you see right here, a daughter. Now, Virginia, her first husband was with Joshua Saunders Jr., all right? And here is the creepy part. Virginia was a little one herself when the parents signed off on her to get married. She was 1 year away from the legal age where you can get your driver's license. All right. So they signed off for her to marry Joshua Saunders Jr., who was above age. Then you have Gary Siders Jr., who's Virginia Siders' brother. Same thing happened with him. He married Elizabeth Siders. Now, Elizabeth isn't her, Siders is her married name. Same age. She was 1 year away from getting a driver's license. Now, like I said, I got to watch out here for this case with this language. Now, Virginia got signed off to be with Joshua, and then they had Joshua Sanders III, who was now 23. He's the one who just got arrested on forcing himself, violating a little one. Her new man, Brendan Henderson, who was Joshua's stepdad, he's the one who just got arrested for forcing himself onto somebody too. Once again, a little one. Now, they're not saying who the little ones are. People are wondering who they are. They're not saying if they're are they a result of Virginia Siders? Because she had 3, as you see right here, okay? They're not saying who they're with. But we do know that it's not, I guess, immediate family member is what they're saying. But still, if there's not an immediate family member, it still could be a extended family member, which could be a cousin. And then you have on the Gary Sider side, Elizabeth side, as you see, they have all of their little ones right here. All right. So I hope this family tree broke it down for you a little bit. Those two were arrested just recently, a couple days ago, on those new charges from a different case. Okay. Investigations. Now, the investigators investigating them is what led to Gary Jr. and Elizabeth Siders. And Gary Jr., Elizabeth Siders has new charges from 2022 of them violating a little one. And they were knocking on the door to get Gary Jr.'s DNA, because the only reason I can think of is the 2022 case. I guess maybe there was some sort of DNA or some sort of fluid left behind. So they're trying to see if his matches, you know, the victims. Okay. The two who just got arrested, their charges are stemming from just last year. Okay. 2025. Yes. It's like I said, it's very confusing. There's a lot going on in this family. So you have two different marriages right now of a grown man marrying somebody they should not marry, all within the same family. Plus we have a third, and we're about to get to that like I did in my last video. And let me show you how all this connects. It is crazy. All right. So we have state of Ohio, James L. Cremeans. Now, he was born in 1985. All right. So you guys can do the math. He's well above age. It says engaged in, all right, conduct with Jane Doe, who was born 2013. You guys can do the math on that one. We're not talking about an adult here, okay? So they had relations with somebody who was born in that year. Now, it also goes on to say that Jane Doe was being less than, because at the time when it happened, this happened, and she was actually, this happened in 2022. And let me read at the bottom here. It says, pursuant to ongoing investigator efforts, James Cremeans was interviewed by detectives from the Gallia County Sheriff's Office. During said interview, Mr. Cremeans confessed to engaging in regular activity with this little one the past 3 years. And this same behavior has been continuing through June 9th, 2026. So he was doing this for 3 years to this victim. All right. Now, James Cremeans was with this lady right here, Angel Doss. Angel Doss, recklessly as the parent, guardian, custodian, person having custody or control of Jane Doe. So Angel Doss, guys, is the mom of the victim. Is the mom of the victim who was born 2013. So she's charged too. This goes on to say on June 10th, 2026, Detective Shallon was notified by CPS that a report had come in of suspected, okay, abuse involving the victim. The victim's sister and suspect responded to, and it gives you the address. Then the detective spoke with Jane Doe, the one I mentioned earlier, when asked if anyone has done anything in violation of her inappropriate. She responded that it had been taken care of. When asked what that meant, she then replied back, she told her mom, who was Angel, and her mom had a plan in place to take care of it. I wonder what this plan was, if she was planning to take care of anything at all. Detective Shuit, I believe you pronounce it. I can't pronounce that at all. Shuit inquired further, and the victim disclosed that when she was, man, so back in 2023, her and James began rubbing and doing everything you can do. Guys, disgusting. Disgusting. Can't even read it all. She disclosed this continued regularly into June 9th, 2026. Jane Doe stated he had relations with her twice on June 9th, 2026. Okay? Twice. And because of that, he left his DNA, if you know what I mean. Very, very, very disturbing. Well, you might be asking, well, how are they related to Gary? Well, I showed you guys this picture in my last video. This is Richard Siders and his wife, Tessie Siders. Richard Siders was 48 years old when he went and married Tessie. Tessie was the youngest one. She wasn't even old enough to get a driver's permit when they got married. Richard Siders is the brother of Gary Siders Sr., the one who looks crazy, the one that they released to the hospital. Now, Richard Siders is no longer here with us. He passed away. Now, I believe that Angel Doss is Richard Siders' daughter before Tessie even got involved, because Tessie and Richard Siders, Tessie and Angel are almost the same age. I think it's like a year or 2 years apart. So that is how the relation. So Angel Doss is Gary Jr.'s cousin.
His wife, Elizabeth Siders, the mother of the 16 is also charged in both cases. Prosecutor William Archer argued Siders Jr. is a flight risk, saying he's been trying to hide from authorities for years. Siders Jr. is now being held on a $550,000 bond.
Now, James Cremeans, the one who got arrested with Angel, he already has charges. Look at this, from 2004, dealing with little ones. So this is not his first time. Now, Angel, the other one who got arrested, when I pull up the background report, an address shows up on her background report that's the same address that the Siders lived at one point. So did she live with them at one point, and all of them and all the 16 little ones and maybe her little ones lived in one house? What's going on here? I told you guys in my last video, more people will get arrested. Well, these two individuals already been arrested. Matter of fact, Angel Doss, I believe, is out of jail. Now, here's the funny thing. They were arrested on June 30th. You know why that date is significant? Because that's the same date that the search warrant was performed at the Siders' house and found all 16 of those living in one room under those horrible conditions. So the same day that they invaded their house was the same day they went and arrested Angel and James. This lets me know that somebody snitched on somebody probably, or they found evidence at one of the homes that will link them to the other. I would like to see what time they got arrested and, you know, exactly if it was after the search of the house.
We're also learning more about the people connected to the conduct investigation, which ultimately led to the 16 being rescued. 40-year-old Brandon Henderson and 23-year-old Joshua Saunders are.
And what makes this even all disgusting, guys? As you notice, Angel Doss has a different last name than James Clemens. All right. Now, I don't think they're still together. I'll look through social media. Angel's with the new man. The new man has the same last name as her, Doss. Okay. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Did she get married already that quick to the new guy? How does she have his last name so quick when she was just with this guy, James? After doing some more investigation, I found out that Angel was actually, before she was with this new guy, let's call him P Doss. She was with P Doss's brother, Brian, who passed away. He's no longer with us. So she was with the brother, Brian Doss, married him, I guess. Then got with this James guy. They did what they were doing to her own little ones. Sick and disgusting. And they get arrested. And now she's with the dead guy's brother, her ex-husband's brother. This case gets more interesting by the day. It is very sick, very disgusting, and it just makes you wonder, when you drive down and walk down the street and you're walking by somebody's house or driving by the house, what could be going on behind the closed doors that you don't see? The windows and the shades that are down. Is somebody in there getting invited? It makes me think of stuff like that. Because all this time, this is what was going on. Now, I really feel bad for the victims. This is horrible for them. Horrible. They'll probably never be the same again. It's really bad. Now, people might be asking as they're watching this video, where was Protective Services at? CPS. Well, CPS has been involved with them for the last, I think it was like 5 years. But the issue is the Siders kept moving. Okay. Now the CPS has knocked on the door. They tried to do what they can, but they had to go by the law. And the Siders would either not answer the door, all kind of things are happening. And then they would move. And then they would move. So CPS has been involved in trying to get this solved, but the issue is they have to go by the book and just can't bust down the door, I guess. I didn't know that. So do you think more of this family tree is going to get arrested? I am not going to be shocked if there is more that gets arrested. I'm not going to be shocked if there's more victims. You want my honest opinion? You really want my honest opinion? The whole family needs to go away. This is insane. Now, if you've been following me, you know I'm very fair. I'm very honest. And I like to show integrity on this channel. And I like to give you facts. And then I'll give you also my personal opinion on things. But when it comes to crimes against little ones, I'm gonna let you know right now, I'm biased. Very biased. Okay. And when it comes to stuff like that, for me, it's you gotta go. You have to go. Put him in there or her in there, lock him up, throw away the key. It can even be worse than that. Okay, it can even be a DP charge. I don't care. They have to go. And other people might not think that way, but that's just my honest thought when it comes to those type of things. Quick story for you. Quick story. So you guys know my background. When I had to turn myself in, I spent 7 months in county jail. Now, it was the last time I ever went to jail. Never saw him again after that. Judge gave me a couple years probation. Finished my everything, right? But I had to turn myself in and I had to do 7 months in the county jail. Actually waiting to see the judge pretty much is what it was, because I had no bond. I was a fugitive. I couldn't bond out. And I'd rather use that money on a lawyer instead of bonding out. But while sitting there, you get cellmates. So one guy came in there. I didn't know who he was. We start talking like the second day. He seems cool. When I get on the phone, he didn't have money on his books or make a phone call. So what I would do is get him three-way calls. I was helping him out. About a week later, I find out what his charges are. I had somebody on outs look up his charges. And guess what? His charges were against little ones, forcing himself on them. After that, no, ain't no more buddy. I'm not sharing no soups with you. You can't have no half of my Snicker bar. Three-way calls got to end. Matter of fact, you got to get out of my cell and you have to go. Now, this guy was pretty big. I want to say he's about 6'3", 6'4", really big, husky guy or whatever, right? And I'm not that big myself, as you guys see. I'm about 5'11", and you see I'm not that big. But at that time, even though it's funny, I'm in jail too, there's still a code of conduct. You still have even when you're in there, there's still a code. There's certain things you just don't do. Now, if it's you and another man and you guys go fisticuffs, that's a different story. But you don't touch people who can't defend themselves, especially forcing yourself upon somebody else. So once I found out, I hung up the phone, went back in the cell, and I told him, man, you have to press the button. Now, what the button is in a lot of these county jails, in the cells, they have a button that's on the wall. The button is in case of emergency happens, you in there getting beat up, something. You press the button and the guard will come up to the cell and see what's going on. And there's also a way to tell people you got to get out. So I told him, you got to press the button. He got up out his bunk and I told you he's big. What do you mean I got to press the button? What do you mean? I said, first of all, you can't be in here with me. I found out what's going on. He tried to act dumb, you know. I just told him, hey, it doesn't work this way. Sorry, you can't be in here with me. First of all, I don't allow that. Second of all, where are we at right now? If everybody else knew you was in my cell and I didn't kick you out and they all found out, now I'm looking like you as well because now I'm associated with you. We can't have that. So you have to go. Oh, whatever. At that time, the guard was walking. I thought I was going to start fighting. I really did. Guard was walking by. And as the guard was walking by, he looked in the window because he's doing his count. And he sees the other guy's face because my back is to the door. So the guard can't see my face, but he sees the other guy's face. And the other guy's face, I guess he looked mad. So the guard opens the door. Hey, we got a problem here. What's going on? And I straight told the guard, he's got to go. He got to go. I'm sorry, guard, but he's got certain charges on him. He can't be in here. All right. The guard knew exactly what I was talking about because the guards know everybody's charges. That's their job. They sit there on a computer and learn everybody's charges, who's violent, who's dangerous. The guard looked at him and said, hey, if he says you got to go, you got to go. I'm not going to stick up for you. And guess what? He packed his stuff, went to another cell. The very next day, I guess that person in that cell found out, and guess what? He packed his stuff, and then the guards moved him out the whole ward. So when it comes to these type of things, no, I'm biased, and you got to go. You got to pack your stuff. You got to get out of here, and people never have to, you know, you got to go. Like I said, you guys don't have to agree with me, but when it comes to that, whole different story. But you guys let me know what you think. Do you think anybody else is going to get arrested in this case? Do you think anybody else, any more victims are going to come out? Like I said, I would not be shocked if anything else happens. And these two got arrested, Angel and James, on the same day the police invaded, or I should say raided that house. So do you think they got told on or vice versa? It's just very obvious that it was the same day that something had to happen, all right? Please like, subscribe, all right? Turn on notifications, comment down below. Follow Fugitive TV on Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter. Facebook, Fugitive TV, because I'm being more active on those two social medias now. And also TikTok, Fugitive TV, all right? So please, you guys, take care of one another. Love one another. Look out at your surroundings. Watch your surroundings. Until next time, this is Fugitive TV, and I'm out.